All right, the doc is in. It's Dr. Kevin from the Bryant Wellness Institutes of Acadiana, and we're talking Lyme disease.
Yeah, Lyme disease, and you know,
is it Lyme's or Lyme?
Lyme.
No S.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lyme disease. Yeah.
Lyme disease.
So some doctors feel like long-term intravenous antibiotic therapy lasting a year or more may help this, but others don't agree. And long-term IV therapy has its own problems like allergies, infections, and digestive problems. But 5 studies from the U.S. and Europe failed to show benefit in long-term intravenous antibiotic therapy. But could you imagine have IV antibiotics for a year for this?
That's unreal.
And it doesn't even help after that.
No.
So most standard medical treatment also is to just treat the symptoms that arise from chronic Lyme, and not a good alternative either. So in other words, if you develop joint pain, they give you some sort of an NSAID. If you develop chronic fatigue, they might give you something for that. But it's never really, it's just treating the symptoms of it. And that's really all they can offer for that in some cases. And so, I don't have a lot of magic answers or solutions for this one today, guys. It's just, the main thing is try not to get it. And I have several patients with chronic Lyme disease and you do not want it. And it's not something that you want to deal with. So the best solution, number one, is to avoid getting it by, if you're going into the woods like I am every weekend right now, is to spray down with off or some sort of a DEET product really, really well.
You don't usually recommend that, so this is serious.
Yeah, you guys know I'm not one for spraying chemicals on my body at all, but in this case, it is well worth the trade-off. And so I spray down really good before you go into the woods. Spray your children down, their socks, their legs, their shirt openings, and so on, really good, so that they can't get inside the clothing. Check yourself really well after you get out of the woods. If you have a tick, you want to remove it by pulling very slowly upwards with tweezers. Don't jerk it out. Pull really slowly so it will let go on its own.
Yeah, that's not the old wives. The old way was the match thing, right?
Yeah. What were you saying they did on that?
I'm from the country. And our dogs, my dad had a lot of dogs, and had those a lot of beagles because he hunt a lot. And every now and then they'd get a tick. And he'd find a tick on them, and he would strike a match, let it heat up for a little bit, blow the match out, and stick the match on the back of the tick. And that tick would back its head out and come out that dog.
Let go.
And then let go. Yep. Otherwise, you pull them, the head stays in there.
Right, exactly. So that's why they say pull slow. But yeah,
No, he would touch him. He would touch him all.
Poor dog.
He would make him come off that dog. Them ticks came out like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So you could try that if you want.
Hey, you ever had red bugs?
Oh yeah, cannot stand them.
Huh?
Yeah.
My mother used to polish them with clear fingernail polish. That's what she would do. She'd say that'll kill it, smother it, or whatever.
Yeah, those things are so bad in the woods where I hunt. I mean, they are terrible. That's the other reason I like to spray down real good. You know, the bottoms of the shoes and all of that.
Yeah, and where them red bugs go, it's not a pretty place.
No, and they itch like crazy too.
Yeah, they do. I'd be in the mall, be like, "Oh, see Dr. Kevin in the mall. Oh, what's wrong with Doc? Why is he
a little itchy today?
Why is he touching there?
They're really red.
Huh?
Are they really red?
I don't know.
They are red. Yeah, they
They're
are
so
really red.
tiny you can't even see them.
Of course, in Oklahoma where I grew up, they were called chiggers.
Oh,
Chiggers.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're called chiggers. Same thing.
Okay.
So now
Y'all
listen.
are making me itch just
I know
talking about it.
Yeah, no. The other day I
You
was.
want me to scratch it?
No, I'm good.
I
I'm
can
good.
scratch
I'm good.
it.
Last weekend I was cutting some trees in the woods, and the very first tree I went to cut, I looked down and I had a tick fall on my arm, and I was itchy the whole rest of the day. I mean, and I had even sprayed down good, so he wouldn't have bitten. Well, he just happened to fall on my arm, and I looked down and saw him. But I mean, my head was itching, my neck was itching, and but yeah, spray down good if you go into the woods. Now listen, watch the area.
You little sissy. You little wuss. I'm gonna go out in the woods with my big
with my manly chainsaw. Oh, I got a tick.
Oh, look, a tick. Ah!
Oh man, that's something. Now, if you do develop a rash or a fever within a few weeks, go see your doctor and tell them that you were recently bitten by a tick. Now, listen, if you get bit by a tick and you get a fever or a rash for no reason, make your doctor listen to you. Listen, I was bit by a tick. Listen, I was bit by a tick. You know, look at this rash, and have him really look at it well.
Because it's not something that I can imagine a doctor hearing that going, "Oh my God."
Yeah, whatever.
You came in here because you got bit by a tick,
Right.
but it's a serious thing.
It is, yeah, it is. It can be for sure. And so the truth is, you know, we don't really have any good answers with this one. I know you guys are used to me coming in here and giving you these amazing new answers that, you know, we have this revolutionary new thing. But
2015, Deb, and we can't test for a tick bite.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to raise awareness about this today because it is getting more and more common, and there's people that have chronic illness that think they have chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, and they may want to go get testing to just rule out Lyme disease. And, you know, the other thing is if you find a tick, pull it off slowly, watch it for a while. Keep your immune system strong by being healthy, taking your supplements, eating a healthy diet, and use some spray when you go into the woods. You know, I went and bought like 10 cans the other day. I have one in my hiking pack, one on my four-wheeler, one in my truck. I mean, I have those things all over the place.
Mr. All Natural?
I just use the regular DEET off.
Really?
Like
you know
that.
why? Because that's the only thing that really works.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's the only thing that works.
Yep.
And so, but you know, I try not to breathe it in. I wash it off immediately after, and you know, I try not to put it in the
Be
areas.
responsible.
Yeah, I try to be real responsible with it, and do the best I can. But in some cases, you just have to. And so, you know, ladies, make your husbands use some spray so that they don't get bitten, and especially the kids. You know, watch the kids really well in the woods or in the yard.
How long can that, like if a child got bit by a tick, okay, and didn't really know it, and the child grows up, the child's 30 years old and having all these symptoms you just talked about, fatigue and everything, they wouldn't know. Can it last that long?
Absolutely. It's a lifelong thing once it happens. Yeah.
You wouldn't even know.
Right. And that's, you may have gotten bit by a tick 10 years ago and got the bullseye rash and didn't pay attention to it.
Didn't pay attention, that's right.
And then, you know,
because they didn't hear our show.
And 10 years later, you think that you're just a fibromyalgia sufferer, or there's no reason why you feel terrible, you know, and have joint pain and chronic fatigue, and come to find out you have chronic Lyme disease. That is usually the way this goes. Jeez. That's why this is so important. And so avoiding the bites is the answer. So when I was reading the latest research on Lyme disease yesterday, and I've had patients ask me about this, I just said, you know, this is something I just need to kind of raise awareness about today. And although we don't have any good answers, we need to pay attention to it because it's something that, you know, something everybody should be aware of. And if your kids get bit or you get bit, just kind of watch it for this bullseye rash. And if you see it, pay attention to it. You know, most of these cases can be treated. Very, very few percentage turns into chronic Lyme. You know, 90% of these things, even more than that, probably can be treated with just some simple antibiotic therapy.
But it's way better to prevent it.
Way better to prevent it.
Your poor child, Creed. You must send him to school wrapped in Saran wrap.
Oh no, actually not at all.
No, I bet you do.
No, not at all.
Look at
actually.
that. Well, why is that child going into his house? Why is that child wrapped in a cling wrap?
You want your kid to
Dr.
get exposed
Kevin's
to
child.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you build up
Absolutely.
immunity, right?
Actually, yeah, I like him to play in the dirt and get exposed to germs and all that. That's actually the way that builds his immune system. See, when we get exposed to things, we get stronger. And so when he gets sick with something, we let his body fight it off. And so we try to let his immune system get stronger and stronger. So I like him being exposed to bacteria and things, actually. I try to avoid chemicals. I think chemicals are worse than bacteria. I'd rather him get exposed to germs than chemicals. Yeah, because the germs his body can fight that off and get stronger. I think that it's the chronic environmental chemicals, you know, in the cleaning products and the soaps and shampoos and all that actually is much worse than the germs. I think some of the chemicals in the antibacterial soap is worse than the germs that it kills. So we have just a little different theory at our house about health and disease and the way it all comes about. But no, he's definitely a boy's boy for sure. He plays outside in the dirt, in the woods, all that. So
good.
Yeah, and today was his first day of school, so there's first full day. So you should. He was cute in his little school uniform. Listen, guys, don't forget to join us on Facebook at the Bright Wellness Institutes, and I also want to invite you guys to join me on my YouTube channel. It's the Bright Wellness Institute's YouTube channel. I put an inspirational video on there yesterday about the Hoyt brothers. I don't know if you guys have seen this story, but this is a story about a guy that pushes his disabled brother in triathlons. So if you want to tear up today, if you want to start your day with some encouragement, you really need to go watch this video today. So what he does is when he swims in his triathlon, he pulls him in a little inflatable boat. And when he runs, he pushes him in a little cart. And when he bicycles, he puts him in a seat in the back and brings his brother through a complete triathlon.
Wow.
And the disabled brother said, and he talks through a computer, kind of like Stephen Hawking does. And he said that if he could walk again, the first thing he would do is to let his brother sit and push him.
Oh, wow.
And so
God.
if you want some inspiration today, you need to go on my YouTube channel and watch this story. I mean, it's a story of overcoming adversity and taking care of your family members and just the love that these two brothers have for each other. It's unbelievable. You got to go see this story on my YouTube channel. It's the Bryant Wellness Institutes.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother. You know that song?
Yeah.
The road is long.
Oh, go ahead.
You know that
Yeah.
song? Okay. All right.
That's all you do, one little verse?
That's all you want me to do, trust me. All right. Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, Doc.
Thanks, guys.
KTDY.